Hey folks, it is I, Jason Hyatt, with the TSR Radio or TV. Jeez Louise, I keep doing it. TSR TV, podcast all about guns and self defense, the Second Amendment, and fun things that go bang, 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 possibly boom here and there once in a while, but not in your hands. Hopefully. See what I mean? But you are on the CTW TV network, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I think that's all of them right now. Soon to be on other places, hopefully. But today is April 4th, so you guys can know this isn't recorded. See? But anyway, today should be a slightly interesting topic day. We have some updates about some stuff we talked about earlier with the rotary triggers. I posted on the YouTube or on the Facebook page yesterday, and we're going to delve into a little bit of what to do in a self-defense shooting situation or a self-defense situation, things to say, things not to say, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. I'll be right back while I take a drink of something and clear my throat. All right, now that I got the frog out of my throat, it's been a bit of a trying day, so bear with me. Um, so today I'm still going to ask the three questions, not the same ones as last week, but a new set of three questions, and we'll go from there. Remember, it is for one of these wonderful TSR Firearms and Forge stickers. I know, not much, but that's where we're at. Somewhere I put my pen. There it is. All right. Three questions today for the beginning of the show are: when is a suppressor not a suppressor? And when is a suppressor a suppressor? What makes a suppressor a suppressor? What makes it the difference between having a noise directional device compared to a noise dampening device? What is the difference? What makes it a suppressor? See? I had to write it down. I had it written down, and then I threw away the piece of paper because I spilled my Mountain Dew on it. So, the next question will be: in what year, pay attention, in what year, what month and year, did it become illegal to manufacture a full auto or select fire machine gun for sale to civilian population? What year? That's it. I'm only looking for 4 digits. What year? See? And a month, because the month is actually rather important in this part of the conversation. All right. And the next question for today is going to be: what is the difference between a K-frame Smith & Wesson and, wow, Never mind. Not going to go there yet because mine just went completely blank. What 9mm round is considered subsonic? There we go. We're going to go with that. What 9mm round, we're going with grain weight, is considered subsonic? Answering those three questions, any of the 2 out of 3 of those questions being the first, will earn you a Shooter's Rest Firearms and Forge custom sticker. Yes, I know it's not much, but it'll get, it's something. I'll ship it to you. It won't cost you a dime, and you'll have a nice, pretty sticker. All right. There we go. Notice every single one of those questions would have to be referred to as an NFA item. Not the particular device, but has to be in reference to the National Firearms Act items. So I'm going to go ahead and put the questions in the chat. So the first question is, what makes a suppressor a suppressor? Dumbing it down a little for myself because, I made it way too complicated the first time. And I think I misspelled it, but it's okay. What year and month did manufacturing a machine gun for private sale become illegal? Question number 2 is up now. Now, question number 3. What 9mm round is considered? Oh. Hey, Cody. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Is considered subsonic. Now, I almost completely butchered that spelling, so I'm not looking at my fingers. All right, so the 3 questions are up. Answer the 3 questions. Answer 2. Wow. M round. That's supposed to be 9mm. Sorry, 9mm round. There you go. Going for grain weight. All right. So, with all this talk about the ATF and suppressors and NFA items, I'm going to go ahead and give you the update on the Rare Breed FRT Forced Reset Trigger. Came out 8 days ago now. I was watching the YouTube last night. Judge in Florida threw it out. They missed an arbitrary date for paperwork. ATF and then we're supposed to agree on some timelines, and it got missed, so the judge threw it out. They are refiling lawsuits in North Dakota, where the company's based out of now, which is great because that's my home state. That's where I grew up, and it may make more sense. But one of their manufacturers that they're manufacturing under their license actually got raided by the ATF, and they took a bunch of their products. You don't know how many yet. And he did update the fact that they have an auto shredder on their information. It's automatic. They don't push a button. It does it automatically. Once your order is shipped, it actually scrubs all your personal information out of their system. So that is how it goes. So as of right now, Rare Breed is still suing the U.S. government because the U.S. government made it so they cannot enter any more evidence or any evidence into the case file. And even though the judge ordered the ATF to allow them to, they did it. They still refused. So it's some back and forth. As of right now, the FRT is legal, but not legal. ATF says it's illegal, but they don't make laws. They're supposed to enforce laws. So it's one of those funny things. But if you have one, if you had one, or one fell off the boat, or something like that, make sure it's still at the bottom of the lake. Okay? You don't want the ATF coming and knocking on your door. It's not fun. It's not going to have, it's one of those things in life that really sucks. All right. Then we're going to talk a little about suppressors. Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. I really like having suppressors or cans or silencers or whatever you want to call them. And I was delving into the world of the YouTubes last night. And I guess there's this thing called an SME. It's not a suppressor, but it kind of functions like a suppressor. It doesn't make it quiet, but it makes it quiet for your ears. There's no baffles involved. It's just weird. So if you want to find that, just look it up. It's an SME, and it's kind of funky. Basically, you're putting a blast chamber, open-ended blast can on the end of your gun. Kind of weird, but it's one of those. I really like suppressors. State of Georgia, I can hunt anything on the menu with a suppressor. I do not like the fact that I have to pay a tax stamp. I don't think that should be legal because it is a muzzle device, and anything that's manufactured loud actually comes with a muffler on it, and so should guns. But also saying ATF, this shouldn't be an agency. So you're getting your information from a guy that's a little biased on that one. So the job of a suppressor is to trap the gases before they rapidly expand at the end of your muzzle, so therefore reducing the sound signature that your gun makes. It doesn't make it quiet. It's not quiet like the movies, unless you have an integrally suppressed 22 that you're running subsonic rounds through, which those things are stupid quiet, or reduced load 30-30 with a can on it. Those are stupid quiet too. And so is a Ruger 44 mag, the 45 rotary magged rifle carbine that they make. It looks just like 1022, but it holds 44 magnums. That thing, when you shoot 44 special with a suppressor on it, is just stupid quiet. I'm just going to say. The round smacking the ground is quieter than the gun. But it's still not movie set quiet. You're still getting a little pop. So, I like suppressors. I'm just going to go out and say it. I want plenty of them. I'd like one for every gun that I own. But I don't have one for every gun that I own. Right now, I'd be happy with having one per caliber that I own. But that's not even actually feasible. I am actually looking at a Dead Air Wolfman for 9mm through 5.56. And then I am looking at like the Omega Silencer Co. Omega 9 or Omega, or their hybrid for everything bigger than 5.56. And then maybe getting a harvester for, things that are even larger. 338 Lapua, 4-way Shytech, and stuff like that. So, Shandy Stream, thanks for joining us and thanks for chatting. I'm glad you're there. I just saw that. Sorry. So, like I said, it's been a bit of a trying day. So, I'm going to try not to ramble and I'm going to try to stay on topic. But it is what it is. So, we have our own YouTube. If you're on Facebook or on Twitch, you can go to the Shooter's Rest YouTube, Guns Vet Survival YouTube. and we will show up there. So we have two different ones. We put everything on here. But there we go. Now, let's go a little into things to do and things not to do after you've had to defend yourself or brandish your gun or anything like that, and you are in a self-defense situation. Usually, like most military mindset is you shoot to kill. Plain and simple. And those are words you never want to say in public, and you never want to say to the cops, and you never want to say in court. Ever. You never say, I was trained to shoot to kill. They will use that to hang you with. They've done it in the past. They'll do it again. It is the way things are in life. They don't like those words. So Massad Ayoob did a huge video on it. He's the man, basically, and he went into great detail. And I will put a link up. I put a link on the Shooter's Rest last night, and we'll try to get a link out there again to the YouTube that he was talking about. But like I said, military mindset in times of war, you shoot to kill. You never shoot to wound. It's against the Geneva Convention. Yes, it can take more of them out of the fight, but it's wrong and it's not humane. When we kill things, we like it to be dead quickly. Then we don't have to worry about them later. But in a civilian situation, when you're talking to the cops after you've had to defend yourself, you didn't shoot to kill that person. You didn't brandish your weapon to kill that person. Your only point in action is to make that person or perpetrator or thing stop. Once they stop being a threat, you no longer are defending yourself. So that is an important point of fact. Once they stop being a threat, you no longer are defending yourself. So first words out of your mouth after you talk when the cops show up is, "Hey, I was defending myself, and I would like to call my lawyer." Plain and simple. And hopefully you got a really good lawyer, and they'll tell you these words too. You were not shooting to kill. You were shooting to stop. And I know my dog is over there hitting his food bowl, even though he's already eaten. But he's in the room with me, and that's what he does. Let me get him come over here. Come here, pup. Come. All right. So, up. Here's the mascot, Mr. Yona Wahawa SG. He is my shop dog. He is my buddy. He is my partner. And he likes it when I use suppressors too. But anyway, so you're in that situation where you've had to defend yourself. Make sure you use the words, "I was only shooting to stop the perpetrator. I was only shooting to stop the threat." In the past, I've said you shoot to eliminate the threat. Well, now the word eliminate is associated with kill, so now you're just trying to stop the threat. Using the words eliminate would be bad. Using the words kill would be bad. Stopping the threat. Now, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the greatest legal mind on the planet. But if you are trained well enough, if you've trained yourself well enough, or if you've taken classes and gone through all the training stuff that we've talked about in the past, stopping the threat should be, 2 in the chest, 3 in the chest. As Dan would say, tap 3 times. Pull that trigger 3 times and let it rip. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. If it's still moving and still coming at you, it's still a threat. Shoot it again. If it's still holding on to the weapon, shoot it again. Because as we all know, people on drugs, say PCP, cocaine, any of that, methamphetamines, they don't feel pain and their body doesn't know it's dead before it's dead. And they will continue to attack you for what seems like forever after they should rightfully be dead. So you shoot to stop the threat. If it's still moving in your direction with a weapon, it is still a threat. That is how I see it. I would feel threatened if a meth head was coming at me with a knife after I shot him 15 times. I would still feel threatened if he still had that knife in his hand and he was moving. I would keep shooting until the threat stopped. And then when I talked to my lawyer, I would explain to him, I only shot until he was no longer a threat. Stop. You cannot say, I shot him to kill him. Because then everybody in court, the jurors, the judge, your executioner, well, I'll be looking at you like you're a murderer at that point. And yes, in some places it's different because you have different state laws and weird stuff. But I'm going off what I know about this great state of Georgia I live in. You stop the threat, you stop shooting, and you don't tell them you shot him to kill him. Now, in my case, my training would probably be looked at. All these videos that I do on the podcast that I do and all the radio shows that I ever made will probably be listened to try to make it so that they can show that I had planned to do something. I understand that. I put myself out there. Everybody that watches this or ever heard me on the radio or on the internet knows that I am trained fairly well. Probably not as well as I'd like to be, but I am trained fairly well. I understand what my rights are, and I understand the laws, but they also know that in the past I've been trained to shoot to kill. Not shoot to wound, not to shoot to stop a threat, shoot to kill. Because you shoot to kill the enemy. And then I've had to retrain myself to not say enemy anymore. It's been 10 years since I was in a military uniform. I've started to have to start thinking as perpetrators and thinking along the words of it's a threat, not an enemy. And it's hard to do. It's hard to retrain the brain. So, words matter in all things. So, right now, with my retraining my brain to say the words threat and perpetrator and perp or whatever we're going to call them at this point, I can't say enemy. They're civilians. They're not an enemy on a battlefield. But by God, if Russia comes over here, I can say enemy again. Or if a terrorist is attacking, I can say enemy again, I think. Or do I have to call them a criminal? It's really, really different. But that was a gray area, because never mind. Politics. We're not getting into politics. So we just need to understand shoot to stop the threat. I know it doesn't sound near as exhilarating as what we would normally call it, or what we have been trained to call it in the past, or how we think of it in our brains. But that is what we have to think now so that the powers that be don't do weird things and say, oh, you're a murderer now because you shot to kill. Just because I put 3 rounds in the chest doesn't mean I was shooting to kill. I was shooting to stop the threat. Just because I put 2 in the chest and 1 in the head did not mean I was shooting to kill. I was stopping the threat. In the past, I was told, you empty the whole magazine. I lost my mind. It was a threat, and I just emptied the whole magazine into him. Or I emptied the cylinder into him. I could see where that could be a good thing and a bad thing all at one time. But I can also see where they can say that could have been called excessive force. you would have to be in such a state of mind where calling the cops didn't happen. You couldn't call the cops yourself at that point because you would still be clicking that trigger once the cops walked in the door, if you were in that big of a state. Unless you got control of yourself and it was like 5-10 minutes later. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. If you lose your mind, you lose your mind. If you don't lose your mind, you don't lose your mind. So who knows what will happen to the person, to you, if you're in a shooting situation. You might empty that magazine and keep pulling the trigger until somebody else calls the cops and they show up. Or you'll shoot 3 times and they're on the ground and now they're no longer a threat. And now you've stopped the threat and you picked up the phone, you called your cops, and you called your lawyer. First 2 phone calls, 911. I was defending myself. I shot to stop the threat, and that's it. That's all you say to them. Or obviously, you got to give them your location, name, all that crazy crap. And then once you're off the phone, you need to call your lawyer instantly. Call the lawyer. 911 lawyer. First 2 phone calls. Or if you got USCCA, like I do, you call the cops and then you call your USCCA rep and they get you a lawyer. Which I will highly recommend having a company like USCCA or Law Shield or anybody that offers legal carry insurance for people that legally carry a firearm to protect your butt and provide you with a lawyer if you're in that situation. Because remember, everything you say and do will be held against you in the court of law. Won't be used in your favor in the court of law. Will be used against you in the court of law. They tell you that straight up in the Miranda rights. So that's where we're at. All right. So I think we beat a dead horse enough there with the use of what words to use. Stop a threat. Let's go back over these questions. They're in the chat, whatever network, whatever you're on, they're in the chat. First person to answer them gets a TSR, the Shooter's Rest, Firearms and Forge sticker. It looks just like this logo right there. Yep, except for it says Firearms and Forge right underneath it. See? Yep, it's pretty. All right, so back to the questions. Who can explain to me what makes a suppressor or a silencer or a can? What makes it what it is? What distinguishing features of that item make it what it is? What parts of it? What would it have to be to make it so you have to register it? And why would you not have to register one? Other than the ATF sucks and it shouldn't be on the NFA Act. But anyway, there's certain things out there, say a fuel catch can or filter thingy that they're selling everywhere, that if you drill a hole in the end cap and to the right diameter, they'll call it a suppressor, even though it's like a particulate filter. No. Yes, register. Something I don't believe in, but since I don't like prison, I'll have to do. Yeah. And don't worry, most of the time when they charge you with illegal firearms, they're charging you with tax evasion for not paying your $200 fine or tax. Not paying your $200 tax stamp. It's 10 years and $10,000 in fines. They don't care that it's a weapon. They don't care if it's an NFA item, other than they can now get you for tax evasion. Yeah. It's a government scheme to get more money. But anyway, what makes a suppressor a suppressor? Plain and simple. We'll make that one easy. What year and month did it become illegal to manufacture a machine gun for sale to private citizens? Biggest door ringer of all of them. I absolutely hate this. I think it's a scam, and it is why machine guns are so expensive today. This date is super important because you can buy one manufactured. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gotcha. Because you can buy one manufactured the month before this and be perfectly legal. You can buy one manufactured that the first day of this month and be legal. But you can buy one manufactured the second day of that month, and up to now, it's illegal. Stupid. Stupid scam. It is what it is, but that's what it is. And the last question. What grain weight 9mm round is considered subsonic? This happens to be the grain weight I prefer running in almost every one of my 9mm. So those are the three questions for the free sticker. Here, I'll show the sticker again. Sticker. There's my camera. Sticker. It is white. It's not iridescent. It's because of the background that is making it look funny. But yeah. That is the sticker. It looks a lot like this one. That one. Right there. Okay. Now, in the past, I've had the shooting whisperer himself, Dan Meadows, come on, and we've talked about the legalese of self-defense, and we've talked about what to do and what not to do after a shooting incident or self-defense incident, and we've talked about what kind of training and what kind of things they try to use against you in a self-defense shooting situation. And we've told you before, you call 911 and then you call your lawyer. But what do you do when that cop keeps saying, hey, what happened? You keep your mouth shut. Because like I said, anything you say and do can be used against you in the court of law. There's nothing there that says they can use it in your favor or will use it in your favor. Now, if it's pretty clear it's a self-defense situation and you don't live in a ridiculous state like New York that says you have a duty to retreat, you probably aren't going to go to jail that night. You're going to lose a gun, but you're probably not going to go to jail at night. They'll investigate it as a homicide, and if it's pretty obvious, they will go, yeah, that was self-defense. Now, if it's not obvious, like in my situation, I have a brain injury. And somebody coming in my yard and taking a swing at me is a life or death situation for me. I literally have a metal plate right here in my head that, if hit, could cause me to pass away. I am very, very conscious of the fact that a 10-year-old kid could throw a rock and hit me and that I can die. I know this, and now I'm telling everybody. You'd have to get pretty lucky to hit the right spot, just putting it that way. But I am very cognizant of the fact that a fist fight can get me dead. And I understand for some people, a guy throwing a punch isn't life or death. So I have set ground rules in my mind. If somebody's in my yard and I tell them to leave and they say no, it's starting to escalate to the point where I'm starting to feel a little threatened. If they walk towards me with an empty hand, 9 times out of 10, I have enough training to where they're not going to be able to hit me. 9 times out of 10, Now, say if Dan Meadows was trying to hit me, I'd probably be sprawled in the yard. Just saying. I don't have as much training as some people, but I have more training than others. But if that same individual has a screwdriver in their hand, they now have a deadly weapon to me. Heck, like I said, their fist could be a deadly weapon to me. But they'd have to hit me just right. But like you've got to set parameters in your mind and think about it. At what point do I consider the use of deadly force? As soon as there's a threat. I don't keep tasers at my house. I don't keep stun guns. I don't keep none of that. I have knives, and lethal guns. That is it. My go-to is obviously going to be what keeps the threat furthest away from me at the time. And I don't leave home without one. So in your mind, you got to go, all right, so that guy's 22 feet away at this point. He's got a knife or a screwdriver or something that can injure me in his hand. One more foot, he is now a deadly threat to me. And that is when I can go for my firearm. That 21 foot doesn't mean nothing. That 21 foot is too close. If they got a knife or a way to stab you, 21 foot is generally too close for you to draw from your holster and fire around accurately. So keep that in your mind. And that's why I teach retention shooting. You can kind of defend yourself, get your gun out and that kind of stuff, but you got to be able to see it. And Dan teaches something about an OODA loop, which is kind of cool. It's your 3 foot and 3 foot and all your surroundings and all this stuff. And I'll have him on one night to talk about it. But the standard, even for law enforcement, is the 21 foot rule. If your threat's within 21 foot, you can use deadly force because they can get a knife into you before you get your gun out of your holster at 21 feet. It's kind of crazy. Multiple studies, multiple videos, multiple agencies have determined 21 foot is too close for an attacker. Too close for an armed suspect. So, he's 21 foot away with a knife. What is he going to do? Well, 21 foot, it only takes half a second to put that knife in you. And it takes you or 3/4 of a second to get your gun out of your holster. So, just be cognizant of the fact. Also, something I was told by a lawyer here in Georgia a few years ago. Don't know how much how much it pertains to now since we have the Castle Law and this other stuff. But I will always advocate for carrying 1 round in the chamber and a full magazine. So if your magazine holds 17, chamber a round and put another round in it, in the mag. That way you have all 17 plus 1. That is why firearms are advertised, whatever the capacity of the magazine is, plus 1, because they expect people to carry with 1 in the chamber. I carry my 1911s, cocked and ready, red direct, not really red direct, in condition 1. Hammers back, safety's on, round in the chamber, magazine full. I carry my Glocks, same way. 1 in the chamber, magazine full, finger off the trigger in a holster. My Steyr, my H&K MP3 or my H&K P30, every firearm I carry round in the chamber. Even my little North American Arms 22. I keep 5 in the 5-shot cylinder with the hammer in the safe position. So that's not riding on the primer of the 22 round. So, but I was told, like I said, this was years ago before we got the Castle Law and all that other stuff enacted in Georgia. and I'm sure if you were in California had to defend yourself, they would use this too. It can be considered intent. Can be considered intent if you have to load your firearm before engaging a threat. So, say you're carrying on a dry chamber and somebody's trying to kill you and you have to have to chamber around, then engage the threat, they can consider that intent because your first action was to load the weapon or firearm or pistol or rifle, whatever you're using. Your first action was declaring that you intended to do something. And if they still became a threat, then it still really doesn't matter. But if you have to chamber around, you just took 2 seconds or 1 second, or however long it takes you to chamber around, draw your weapon, chamber around, then aim. You just added added a step that didn't need to be in there. And it's no way that I would like to be. Be ready. Yeah, like I say, keep them loaded, keep them ready. That is the best way to do things. So, yes. All right. So, questions and comments you can post over here in the comments. Any platform you're on, you can post them. We'll answer them. I asked that you put the answer to the 3 questions in there. Like I said, you have to answer 2 out of the 3 as accurately as possible. The first most accurate one. Yona's upset because his mama taking one of the other dogs for a WALK. Sorry. But, yes. It's okay. Why is weird things showing up on my screen when I didn't click on them? All right, there they are. These delves sometimes, they do whatever they want. But this is how we're going to close the show tonight. Keep them ready. Keep them loaded. I will check back later tonight and see if there's any answers to the questions that I've posed. Dan's got a show coming on at 2000. And Yona's going nuts. So, like I said, love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all tomorrow night for Backyard Prepperversity at 6 o'clock. Have a wonderful evening.